Hi everybody, Kevin here. Welcome to another weekly update of Gundam Card Game meta. As you saw last week, green white was kind of like the winning aggro deck because Wing Zero drops and then be able to wipe the field if you're not able to play fast enough. And that happened during Gen Con. So it's been a week since Gen Con, but it looks like even though there's a lot of representation for Green Wing like White Zero, and this is just the Bandai Japan. So in Japan, I think they obviously prefer a little bit more aggro kind of build, whereas here in America, North America to be more specific, and like other non-Japanese countries, I think we kind of play more like a reserved style, right? Like freedom blockers, I think is super popular, especially around my locals, where a lot of people decide to play like freedom blockers, just like wait out the game, and then you have your turn enders, game enders like Unicorn and Freedom Gundam and stuff like that. But in Japan land, as you can see, representation, a lot of aggro. Now, for this one in top 16, shout out to Eggman, of course, to putting all this data for the rest of us in the community. It's very good because you can see that in terms of like first place stuff, it's basically all aggro that wins like first place because they're able to basically bounce through a lot of setups at the moment. Because even though, yeah, Freedom Blocker can be very good, if, for example, you're playing against Xeon aggro and they draw the nuts, with high maneuver, it kind of just ignores a lot of the blockers regardless. And that's how I play around my locals too, where I play red-green aggro Xeon, right? I would say more like Xeon mid-range. I guess that's a better thing to say than Xeon rush, because I don't like playing low value units, because if you don't win by like turn 6, then you probably lose. So I decided to go for a little bit more like, I'll probably win by turn 7, because high maneuver with Char and Char's Gelgoog is like the most busted card. And I think we could see that in the market too, because I think certain cards have obviously rose, but these are the deck lists for now. We'll take a look at them here. But specifically, I would really like to look at the Gen Con list first, I believe, over here. So first one, Cyber New Type Aggro Red Blue. I like to guys call this like a new segment where Kevin was right and Kevin was wrong. Clearly Kevin was wrong, talking out of my ass. I don't know what I was talking about, where I was like confused and didn't understand really like why this deck is good, or why would someone prefer to play this. But after playing against locals and then just messing around with it some more in like wing table and stuff like that, it's very obvious that your game plan is to kind of just low-key like do very tiny damage, hence ping, right? Tiny damage, and then annoy them constantly until you get your big finishers to clear boards with the Kshatriya, of course, and then good old Grandpa Gundam with Amuro, who's able to rest everything. It's very good, especially against other tempo-esque decks, right? So this is like the best quote-unquote tempo deck at the moment, because when I was playing against my opponent, basically he preferred this deck the most, because you kind of play at your own pace, right? You're not really scared of anything too big, because you play against blockers, like they're just gonna really not super be aggressive anyways, right? Unless they're playing like some kind of unicorn variant. But for the most part, like these cards, like the Anksha, right? It does 1 damage. You got your gun cannons able to like rest stuff, which means you can attack it, and then of course gun tank do 1 damage. That adds up over time, especially with Maria, who's like probably one of the better red pilots overall. And then Kshatriya, of course, which, you know, here's the part, Kevin was right. Kshatriya is probably the best red card in the game. That's right, I said it. Don't at me. Because he just managed to clear boards, 1 to 2 damage, or a bunch of blockers. That's very good. Or up to 2 enemies, right, and deal 1 damage to them. Remember, it doesn't mean that you can choose just 1 and do 2 damage to it. That's not how it works. It does 1 damage to them, right? So being able to do 1 damage, 1, 1, 1, that's like 3. That's basically getting rid of the Zorwart or any other annoying cards that you might come across, right? Because it all adds up, and that's kind of the point. Especially with Marita, when you attack, you're able to do 1 more damage, right? So that's like basically 4, if you really think about it. And then Unicorn Gundam, like, you know, the Banshee mode, that kind of, I mean, the shelf effect I don't think ever really comes up, at least in my experience from testing, because, I mean, the effect is just there, and then it's able to link up with Marita. So that's kind of a bonus, right? And one thing I've noticed too is a lot of people are gravitating towards Visalis right now, which I probably will too, because in my red-green, the moment I'm running Zanzibar and the Palau, which is like 6, but maybe this doesn't matter. So anyways, Kevin was wrong. This is a really good deck. until another deck comes out and counters this deck, and then the meta figures itself out, right? I'm feeling there's something here with Breach and probably Unicorn Gundam that I'm trying to cook up, where after Zala being able to attack like attack mode non-rested units and then put Unicorn Gundam in there to allow you to rest units and stuff like that. I think there's something there with Breach. Someone hasn't cracked it yet, but I'm gonna try my best, gang. So anyways, that's one deck list I want to talk about. Finally, here's more, I don't want to say evolution of freedom blockers, but it's kind of like what I'm noticing is that now people are starting to play more units, more or less, to make up your non-aggressiveness of tokens. I mean, well, through tokens and then like non-aggressiveness to blockers, right? Because obviously you block, then you can't attack unless you have like the Archangel, which I believe is allowed you to set as active after like blocking or attacking or whatever, right? So personally, I don't like playing just normal freedom blockers without any form of aggression outside of like waiting for your freedom Gundam. But if I'm gonna play this, which I probably will, just to mix it up a little bit, I'm gonna put heavy emphasis on Unicorn to like finish, you know, the game off. But you gotta cheat it through playing Unicorn, which surprisingly this list doesn't. So Japan land sometimes a little weird in their card decisions, because sometimes, you know, like Zoro War, why is this a 2? I guess they depends on how many cards they have, but I think the starter deck you get 3, right? So there's that. And then Strike Rouge, like, sure, I guess it's able to like set one of your rested units with blocker as active, so that's cool. But then you got to spend what, 1 mana, 1 resource to do it. I mean, I guess you set everything active and block, so I don't know. But otherwise, in terms of other aggro deck lists, this is the other aggro deck list, which I'm also think that's super interesting, because one of the things I also thought about was like, oh, you can add G Fighter, because G Fighter obviously has high maneuver, and then high maneuver be able to pass blockers anyways, so that kind of makes up for your annoying things that you have to deal with, especially with playing against Freedom Blocker, right, which is the most popular one at the moment, I think, in North America and like non-Japanese countries. So I think this is another standard alternate take on like blue-green, but I think blue-red is probably better, because Shakira just puts in so much work. So that's how I feel. So if this managed to win, that's cool with them. I don't think I would play this, in my opinion. Here's another alternate take. Like I said, I just hate DOP. This is my opinion, gang, but I just hate DOP. Prove me wrong, because DOP, you remember what I always say, it's like you can summon it on your first turn, which I guess obviously means that it has the most value, but you only get the value out of it if you put the top card that you see to the bottom of their deck, because if you don't do that, then you're gonna draw it anyways and this does nothing, right? If you are going to try to play some kind of searcher card, then you got to play Zaku Sniper, because Zaku Sniper allows you to at least add it to your hand, right? So I don't know, this is my opinion. It does 1/1. Like, realistically, what can you do with it? You do 1 damage to the EX base, okay, sure, there's 2 more, right? And then by that point you probably should have another like monster anyways, and at that point, if it's turn 2, you should be playing like the green Zaku, right? So green Zaku, this one, can just bop it at 3, or you play the Zizulu, right, the red card, which, let me see if anybody has that card off the top, off of here, but let's see, the Zizulu, let's see if we can find it. Okay, maybe we can't search it. But it's like the red card. Let me see if I can find it right here. Hopefully you enjoy this more of like a casual podcast. Maybe we'll do that. We're still trying to figure out the direction of this Gundam channel, right? Would you guys prefer more edited content, or more like, oh, you get to throw this on the background, listen to what I'm saying, playing like a podcast or radio show? So this one, Zizulu, right? Attack your gains +2 AP during battle, which basically kind of serves as the purpose of the green Zaku Dose, right? So if you're gonna do that, might as well do this. As plus it's a 2-drop, which is not bad, right? So turn 2, you get to play that, and then you bop in your opponent's EX base. I don't know, DOP, not a big fan. Not a big fan at all, excuse me. But yeah. So looking at more deck lists from Japanland, this is another kind of alternative freedom blockers-esque deck list. They choose to play Academy with Gundam Frag, because Gundam Frag, I guess, in conjunction with Choo Choo. I know it says Shottery, but you know, Choo Choo from the show. She's able to at least link up with this, and then you get the -2 effect, right? So it becomes like 4 or like a 4/4, but then realistically against your opponent it's like a 6/4, right? Because you -2, so that's pretty good, especially for like a level 4 3 cost. That's not too bad. Yeah, and I think they play area rebuild, which I don't think is super popular at the moment, because I think command cards, nothing is super duper broken. I think even overflowing affection, I don't think is that, like, yeah, obviously is a good great draw card, kind of like your graceful charity if you play Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that. But I mean, there's nothing super crazy that you need to anyways, right? So unless there's like some kind of broken card that like searches through your deck, like for a specific card, I think most people just choose not to play area rebuild, especially since it's like a level 6, right? And at that point, I think a lot of other level 6s or even lower, like for example Strike is so good because you can do something immediately. And then obviously this is dependent on how many command cards you already have in your grave, because I think if you're in a position to summon Ariel at level 6 anyways, I mean, do you really need to 2-draw? You're probably going to have like an established board, especially if you're playing blockers, where you're going to have like some kind of board presence at all times. If you're playing it correctly, then it doesn't really matter. Like if this adds pilots, I think obviously that's way better. But at the moment, I think only, again, like Char's Gelgook, which is like the best green card in my opinion, green card, because you can recycle your Char. And then obviously in the foreseeable future they're probably going to add more green like Char alternate cards, you know, like kind of like One Piece, right? I'm sure there's like multiple Luffy's or Choppers or whatever. So the moment they add another like Char card that's like even better somehow, then you're just gonna play all Chars, and then Char's Gelgook is gonna get so much value. So there you go. This is another green-white list, which I don't see too often, at least here in the States. This is from Japanland. We got first place. Obviously, I think more people will be willing to play this, but it's just super expensive, especially since how difficult it is for us to get product right at the moment. I think obviously if Gundam was more accessible to get, I think here in North America people will be more willing to play like not Freedom, Wing Zero, Death Scythe, whatever you want to call this deck, right? So Death Scythe Wing, I guess is what they call it, because it rolls around Death Scythe being able to do first strike damage, and then Wing Zero being able to just dupe everything, right? So I think just from experience, like ironically around here in my locals, people are trying to find freedoms a lot. I've got nothing but freedoms, and you know, I like Gundam Wing. I love Gundam Wing. I don't know if you can see in the background, but that's like the whole master grade line for Gundam Wing right there. I know it's really hard, sorry for the camera quality, but you can see it in the background for those of y'all listening. I got all of them, you know, Talgis, good old Sandrock, Wing Zero, the EW, the Endless Waltz version, the normal Wing Zero, which is like the anime version, is on another shelf. You got your Death Sights, I got the EW and the, I guess the normal version, right? The one without the wings, the, you know, devil wings. I forget what they're called, excuse me. But I got all heavy arms, right? There you go. Shout out heavy arms. And good old, what's the last one? It's the Shenlong, which unfortunately the master grade doesn't have the extension effect, but I think the high grade does, which, oh well. Anyways, enough rambling about Gunpla. We can talk about Gunpla all day. But here, I mean, Gundam Wing by itself can probably just be its own archetype, especially with Path to Victory or Defeat. It allows you to search for like one cards, and you can add like a unit or a pilot, which is like so good. Yeah, I would probably obviously play this here in the States if it was more like affordable, but what was me? I managed to get freedoms because America, right? Freedom. Shout out George Michael. But that's really it, I think, for meta updates, unless there's still gonna be some kind of surprising deck that comes out of nowhere. It seems like the meta is now shifting towards people trying to play like red blue through Kshatriya, obviously doing the work. I told you guys, great card, amazing card. But otherwise I think it's just pretty much same old, right? The meta's kind of getting defined. It's basically top 3 decks. You got your red, blue. You got your freedom blockers within variants. In my opinion, probably the best one is Unicorn, because Unicorn puts in work, and I love the Unicorn. Right, puts in work. And then you got your random other decks, right? Like Wing Zero, Death Scythe, whatever you want to call it. putting a sort of like a more expensive version of an aggro deck, because Gundam Death Scythe, oh, that's such a good card. First strike, it doesn't lose AP, so that's like countering the other freedom decks, right? I believe that one deck list like this one where it plays for act doesn't matter, right? You got Death Scythe. So the only problem obviously with this is that there's too many high levels. But you know, this is also interesting to me because in this deck list, now I noticed it for this particular deck list, they're not playing bird mode. Is there a reason why people aren't playing bird mode no more? I guess if you just block everything, then it's gonna be fine, right? Because all these things are like level 2, level 3. Like I guess the curve is not that great to begin with for this deck, right? I don't know how. I'm not saying anything, but like, how do people like win this? Are they just really good at the game, really lucky at the game, and just somehow it works out? Because you wouldn't be like hypothetically, you wouldn't be able to play anything until let's say like turn 4, right? Like you just try to hope for your mulligan for a Zorwart and then hope for the best. I don't know. So I guess Striker Pack, being able to make tokens, like buy time. I don't know. I don't know. I guess if you're playing against just freedom blockers all around, then it's gonna be great. But you guys tell me how does this work if there's no EX bird mode? Right, bird mode gives you another resource at least so you can like level up. Like I get you'll probably go second with this, but I don't know. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know down below how it works. Maybe I'm just thinking Yu-Gi-Oh brain too much. Like still, Yu-Gi-Oh brain. Like if you don't win by turn 1, you lost because it's all gas, no break. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's very informal. Just a quick update to the meta. It's always fun to look at meta, see what people are cooking up. Look forward to me trying to cook up something with Breach. There's something there. I feel there's something there with like green red. Nobody's been doing green red. Has anybody done green red yet? I don't think so, right? Green red, breach, and like Atherin Zala. I feel there's something there. Something there. Alright. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment, all that stuff. Again, let me know if you'd rather have this kind of podcast-esque format or some kind of more edited content, right? I think overall I'll probably try to do a little bit of both, right? It's always good to do a little bit of both. And this way it's kind of like I get to keep you guys more updated frequently because I'm gonna be busy with life. And edited content, you know, takes a little bit more time. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys around. Bye bye.